All right, awesome. We're live. Well, not good morning. Oh my goodness, jeez, it's okay because I just got out of bed not too long ago. All right, so good afternoon, folks. Welcome to yet another of our pregame breakdowns. Today we're breaking down FAMU and Alabama A&M. So what's at stake today is as simple. It's as follows: you win, you clinch home field for the SWAC championship, and if you lose, then you're probably going to be waiting until the Florida Classic or maybe hoping for some type of chaos to happen so that way you can just automatically lock it up another week. But I have confidence that this team will secure a home SWAC championship for today as well too. There's a lot on the line today that we'll talk about as well. History's on the line as far as hosting a postseason game, so we'll get into that as well. Also too, as always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And, of course, make sure you come back after the game. We're going to talk about what's next ahead, FAMU and Lincoln. And then, of course, the one in Orlando. And, interestingly enough, how next weekend show will have to be structured during the week for circumstances forthcoming. So we'll talk about all that as well. We're also going to talk about the SWAC West today, actually, and how that's going to play out and how everything looks for everybody's remaining schedule, what everybody has as far as SWAC wins, not the overall conference records of everybody, but we're just going to talk about the SWAC wins, of course. Then, of course, as always, be sure to leave a comment, share your thoughts. Of course, drop your score predictions, drop, your questions for today. From what I've heard and from what I've seen on Instagram, the March 100 is in Huntsville, and I do anticipate a better effort this week in Huntsville versus what we saw at homecoming from them. So, yeah, as always, get comfy, have a seat. I know this is for the first time really this season, it feels like, since the Orange Blossom Classic, where we're doing this early in the day, because every other game was 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or a late afternoon kickoff or a night game or something where we did this super duper late. So finally we're up at 1 a.m. or not 1 a.m. We're up at 1 p.m. getting ready to do this for a game. Hopefully we're up at 11 a.m. on December 16th talking about a Celebration Bowl as well. So, as always, get comfy, have yourself a drink, get your nachos, get your wings, do what you got to do. Let's roll the intro. So let's go ahead and dive right into it for today. So as follows, last week for FAMU, it was simple, win over Prairie View, secured the SWAC East, 45-7, dominant fashion, finally played that complete game that we had all been hoping for and waiting for. And then as well, too, on the other side for Alabama A&M, this was a game where FAMU needed help from Alabama State. If Alabama State had won, FAMU was going to clinch the SWAC East. That's what happened. If not, all the chips would have been on the table for today. So it's good that this happened. There's still something to fight for today. So there's that. So yeah, for Alabama A&M, they lost last week, 16-31. Really, if you look at that film, Alabama State did all the little things right. They really did. And also too for FAMU, as follows: Willie Simmons stated, We didn't change our routine or schedule. We have the same routine. The work is not done. We'll rest on December 17th. It's about us, not the other team. We made that pretty clear and simple. The only thing we have done more this year is score off turnovers on defense, which was very impressive of him to say. That he said that we've scored 3 this year off defense, which honestly, I mean, personally, I would like to see more. I'm sure all of you would like to see more points scored off of turnovers. But, if that's what top is in the FCS, then, who am I to complain? And I think I just have a super duper high expectation of defenses when it comes to scoring off turnovers personally. But that's just my opinion. Also, too, he said a lot of it boils down to our focus and attention to detail. I thought our guys played with lots of focus and intensity this past weekend. It could be, the motivation of playing on homecoming and knowing what's at stake. And then also knowing what's at stake today as well, too, is another reason why you may see more juice traveling, plus the fact that you're going to have a crowd behind you. You're going to have the March 100 behind you as well. He also said the financial gain you can make from hosting a SWAC championship benefits the whole athletic department, not just the football team. That's very true. Because, I look at, other conferences and stuff. I look around, you look at the AAC especially. Look at the financial gain UCF got from hosting conference championships in Orlando in the Bounce House. And look at how it helped propel them to where they are at now in the Big 12, which in due time they will adjust and get used to the level of intensity in that conference if you give them time. And, you look at other schools and stuff too, like just around the SWAC, like Alcorn for a while, hosting SWAC championships, Jackson State hosting SWAC championships. The financial gain is there for the entire athletic department. It pays huge dividends. That's one thing I do like about, conference championships that are hosted on the best records field. It's helpful for that school. And I like how they do it. And I think this is how it needs to be and how it needs to stay for the foreseeable future, not just me showing my bias of, it makes an easy trip for me to get to Tallahassee, but it is partially that. But besides the fact, also too, defense got on track, holding Prairie View to 93 rushing yards last week. They forced 3 turnovers. One of them went back for a pick 6 by Tevin Griffey with his father in attendance at that. FAMU also is currently tied at 13th, technically 14th if you want to be specific, according to the AFCA Top 25 Coaches Poll, which is still technically FAMU's highest ranking since 2019 when they walked into the Florida Classic at 13th. 453 yards of total offense, 272 passing, 181 rushing last week. So another excellent job by FAMU's ground game. And then also, too, FAMU rose in the rankings as far as FCS defense goes. They rose to 4th in the FCS. Anthony Dunn, I'm sure, still ranks 5th in the FCS in sacks. And then also, too, an impressive lowly 4 penalties for 40 yards. Very impressive. And then at the same time, too, as far as players to watch goes for FAMU, Jeremy Musa, 14 of 25, 272 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception. Last week, Terrell Jennings, 7 carries, 54 yards, 1 TD. Jamari Shareed, 4 receptions, 76 yards, 1 touchdown. Kamari Young at tight end, 1 reception, 59 yards. He got pulled because of an injury in the first quarter, but, I didn't really get an injury report or see one lying around, so maybe he's active today, maybe he's not. I don't have that this week, unfortunately. Also, too, linebacker Isaiah Major, who played a pivotal role. There's one play that really stood out to me with Isaiah Major. And this is how you know he's an alpha on this defense. You had a play where I think it was Javon Morgan made a play. He made a tackle for loss. And then the minute he gets up to jaw in someone's face, Isaiah Major's there and just snatches him, pulls him out of it. And he's like, what are you doing? We're not doing that. Get back over there. Stay focused. Next play. Let's go. And you like to see that from a defensive leader. And this is why I say Isaiah Major is an alpha on this defense, along with a couple others. But he is the main one. He goes as this defense goes. Also, to you, Javon Morgan, who, again, made an impact. Also, to Eric Smith, who snagged himself an interception in this game, too. So you had, what was it? Eric Smith had an interception. You had Jalen Glaze, who finally made his debut in orange and green. He had an interception that I thought he was going to house, but he got knocked out of bounds. And then, of course, Tevin Griffey. Those are the 3 interceptions. So secondary is getting their hands on balls now is what you're starting to notice, which is an excellent sign to see. According to the SWAC statistics, Alabama A&M's offense is the top of the SWAC. But then again, they haven't seen a lot of good defenses other than Southern and JSU. That's also very true. And honestly, if you saw the Magic City Classic, like just the highlights or just the game, you're really scratching your head about Alabama A&M's offense, because the proper eye discipline shuts that offense down. I saw safe checkdowns, and I saw linebackers, Bubba Adams and company, flying up and making plays, just tackles for losses, knocked down incomplete passes. I saw Alabama State literally, ASU, my bad. Oh yeah, no, you're good. You're good. But yeah, no, I saw an Alabama A&M team that can be shut down with the proper eye discipline. Eddie Robinson had his guys ready to play, and it was very impressive. And I think that's a little bit of the model FAMU needs to follow today in order to ensure success. Now, FAMU, of course, what's at stake today? Simple. You win, you host a SWAC championship. That's what's at stake. Why is eye discipline key? As I stated earlier, and as also Willie Simmons stated, expect a lot of RPO and a lot of different formations from Alabama State, or Alabama A&M, my bad. Expect a lot of different formations and RPOs, which means eye discipline is going to be key. Why is that like that at the bottom of the screen? I thought I switched that out. My bad. I'm sorry, folks. But yes, expect a lot of eye discipline. They're going to have to stay. Goodness, where's it at? Okay, that's better. I saw something I shouldn't have seen. But yes, no. Expect a lot of eye discipline. Don't fall for the eye candy. Don't get sucked in trying to read a draw when really it's a screenplay. Make your reads, do what you have to do. And I'm sure Coach Smitty and this defense and Isaiah Major and company are well aware of that after much needed hours of film study. They'll be fine. Willie Simmons also stated too, detailed and disciplined attacking gaps and trusting your eyes will be key. And I think that's why FAMU's defense will show up today. Can this team string together another complete game? I think so. Last week was, I think, just the beginning. I think last week was where you saw this team finally have the light cut on. And this actually brings me back to what I heard Thursday night from Jay Walker, where Jay Walker said something very interesting. I know he's a douche and he's a complete a-hole when it comes to FAMU, but he said something really interesting. He said the one thing that FAMU has going for them that is really good is the fact that this is a game where FAMU definitely can't make a lot of self-inflicted mistakes. You're right. It is. It's a game where they can't. They have to play a complete game. They have to play mistake-free. And I think, honestly, you're seeing the penalty yardage go down every week, which is another good sign. But, yeah, so what Jay Walker did say was pretty much along the lines of, FAMU, while a lot of us may not like the fact that FAMU's found themselves in dogfights where, they sputter for a half or they struggle for one half, or they have to fight to come back from down 14 like they did against Texas Southern, or, you basically get shut out in the second half while you're still bleeding against Jackson State when you could have just run it up and you should have run it up. Those little bits of adversity prepare you for when you get to a championship game, or not showing up in the first half and like having to show up in the second half and just, open the floodgates on somebody. Those things battle test you for what's to come when you get to the postseason. So SWAC championship, you're ready. You've already been in this situation before. You get that feel out kind of. But now it's like we've mastered the art of feeling out teams, but we've also now seen where FAMU can just go in there and take off on teams. Because Prairie View, upset what is the first place team in the SWAC West right now. They took them out. Now, what happens the rest of the way? I don't know. I will get to that though. Also, where are we at? Will the Dark Clouds defense be able to contain Donovan Eaglin? I think so. I think they will. Last week was the wake-up call, holding Prairie View to 93 rushing yards, and then, you're going to be able to – what I saw was a team that now realizes, what, we're getting back on track. We're finding ourselves again. Slowly but surely guys are getting back healthy. There are certain guys that are coming in. Jalen Glaze is one of the main guys that you saw come back and was able to contribute in a huge way last week, and I think that will continue. And then also, for Alabama A&M, now that we can switch on over, Alabama A&M averages 31 points per game according to ESPN. They were held to 20 and 2 for the second time against SWAC competition last week. And I think the only other game where they were held to less than 20 points was against Southern, where they lost. No, it was Southern. It was against Southern. I think. No, it was against somebody. Can't remember off the top of my head. But they were held to less than 20 points in another game as well. Oh, Jackson State. That's right. I think that was it. They want to establish the run game, so they want to get Donovan Eaglin going. If you look back at their game against Grambling, where they went into Grambling and spoiled homecoming, Langford and Eaglin combined for 290 yards on the ground, just on the ground. And that was a testament to why they hung up 45 on Grambling. They also present with a 4-2-5. They're a physical bunch that will shoot the gaps with eye discipline. They will shoot the gaps. They will come after you. They want to shoot the gaps, especially on run plays. So this FAMU offensive line is going to have to get it in gear. Thankfully, you have guys like Cesar Reyes and Cardell Thomas and company all active. Yes. Also, too, they were held to 59 rushing yards last week, 231 passing yards. So this run game for Alabama A&M is going to be looking to get back on track. Will it? I don't think so. They've been knocked off their block. Bama State also on this defense rushed and accumulated 85 yards last week and 202 passing yards. They did keep Alabama A&M out of sync. Also 2 turnovers, 1 fumble, 1 interception last week by Alabama A&M, and also 6 penalties for 42 yards. So now as far as players to watch for Alabama A&M goes, Xavier Langford, 22 of 40, 231 passing yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, 14 carries for 26 yards, and 1 interception. Donovan Eaglin probably had the worst rushing performance of this year for himself personally. 7 carries, 21 yards. And then also to the wide receivers, there as follows: Jacoby Hewitt, 5 receptions, 86 yards. Terrell Gardner, 6 receptions, 62 yards, 1 TD. They still have a talented bunch at wide receiver. I told someone this back over the summer, like 3 weeks before the Orange Blossom Classic. I think that this is probably one of the better units at wide receiver that is in the SWAC. I mean, they've lost a bunch, but they've also, they tend to keep a decent wide receiving bunch. I'm not going to say they're bad. I'm not going to say that, and I never have, but they're a decent bunch. I just think that a team like this lacks the mental toughness to close out a game. As well, too, on defense, Marvin Smith last week, 9 tackles, both him and Xavier Billingsley, 9 total tackles each. And then Marvin Smith, 2 assisted tackles, 7 solo, 1 tackle for loss. Xavier Billingsley, 6 assists, 3 solo, 1 forced fumble, along with that, a fumble recovery, and 1 QB hit. And then defensive back Caleb Dawson, 8 total tackles, 4 assists, 4 solo, 2.5 tackles for loss. So there's that. So for Alabama A&M, it's simple. You're basically eliminated from SWAC play because nothing matters anymore, really. You're just playing for pride at this point. How does Maynard keep this squad motivated? Simply put, the only thing you're doing is you're going out there playing for spoiler. The only thing you can really do is at this point say, you know what? You cannot clinch the SWAC East or clinch home field on our turf. That is really the main thing. We don't want them to clinch this home field advantage for the SWAC championship on our turf. That's really the only thing you can say. Other than just, oh, you know what? Let's go out there and let's play hard. Win one for the Gipper. Can't really say too much because these guys know it's over. They know they're not going to be a selection or a lucky pick for the FCS playoff. This is in a couple weeks. This is it. This is it. So, just if you're Alabama A&M, you're playing for pride right now. You know why is there still? Oh no, not that one. Will they be able to have success running the ball? I wouldn't count on it. Film study goes a long way. Plus, the fact of the matter is you face a defense that's not. You face a physical bunch that's not nearly as talented and as deep as FAMU. So I think it's going to be harder today to try to establish the run. But again, we've been wrong before here. Who knows? They might be able to establish a run and go for 100 yards. But it's up for FAMU to adjust even still and shut them down. So now I can actually get into the SWAC West race before I go into my keys to victory for today. So simply put, we're going to start right away. 4-1, and I'm just putting up the conference record. 4-1 Alcorn. Their wins are simple. I thought I put the other one. Oh, my fault. I did not put the other one. Hold on 1 second, folks. It's Bama State, Grambling, and Valley. Okay, so Valley was their 4th win. My fault. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, their 4 wins are as follows: Bama State, Grambling, Valley, Pine Bluff. Their remaining schedule for Alcorn is as follows: Southern, at Texas Southern, at Jackson State. The one today against Southern and the one at the end against Jackson State. 2 key games to keep an eye on. Particularly the one at the end, because you have to go to the vet. But, I think that last one's going to be hotly contested. And then the Southern one's going to be hotly contested too. And if I'm not mistaken, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Alcorn, if they win today in Lorman and then go on the road to Texas Southern and win, I'm pretty sure that would give them the West. I'm pretty sure. So I think we might know if Alcorn wins today and then they win next week. I think we might all but know who secured the West the week before the Classic. And Willie Simmons was saying he hopes to find out soon, because the sooner he can find out, the sooner they can start prepping. But of course, you still have to take care of business against Lincoln and Bethune. And then as follows the next team on the list, Southern, of course, 4-1. Their wins are against Texas Southern, Pine Bluff, Bethune, and Alabama A&M. Because it's so weird in this conference where certain wins count, certain wins don't. And obviously their lone loss was to FAMU. As with Alcorn, Alcorn's lone loss was to Prairie View. Interesting how it all works out. So the remaining schedule for Southern is as follows: today against Alcorn in Lorman, against Prairie View at home, and then in New Orleans against Grambling for the Bayou Classic. Southern has a pretty interesting road ahead as well. If Southern can win today, Southern basically has to take out Prairie View. And they got to take out Grambling afterwards. So as long as we beat Alabama A&M or BCU, we clinch home field, right? Yes, pretty much. You got to just win one of the two. But really, for satisfaction purposes, win them both, and it'll be fine. Let's see, where was I? And then as far as Grambling goes, because Grambling, according to Willie Simmons, listening to his presser Monday, Grambling's technically, mathematically still alive in this as well. They're 3-2 currently. Their 3 wins are Bethune, Texas Southern, and Prairie View in the state, because they won the State Fair Classic. Their remaining schedule is in Montgomery. I believe that's today. Let me just double check. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, that's today at 5:00 in Montgomery against Alabama State. Then next week they go to Pine Bluff, and then again Bayou Classic in New Orleans. So Grambling still technically controls their destiny. That Bayou Classic could mean something Thanksgiving weekend. And then also, finally, last but not least, the team FAMU destroyed this past week for homecoming. Gramblin's defense is going to cost. Yeah, I think so too. It is, because they have an offense, they just don't have a defense, and I think it will eventually cost them. And that's why right now, honestly, I think Southern is going to win the Bayou Classic this year. And I honestly, if Alabama State plays the way they played last week, they're going to beat Grambling today. They will. Pine Bluff, I think Grambling can win that. I'm hopeful Grambling can win that. You should be able to beat the worst team in the West. But yeah, for Prairie View, they're 3-2. These are their 3 wins: Texas Southern, Alcorn Valley. Remaining schedule is as follows: at UAPB, or against UAPB at home today. Just double check. Yeah, Pine Bluff today. At Southern, which is a huge game. If you remember last year, the way that went between, just the pregame scuffle, and then, Southern walking in there and taking down Prairie View, and then against Alabama State at the end of the season at home. Like, this is going to be, if anything, really, those two, today's gettable. The next two, I don't know. If they can backdoor their way into another SWAC championship, we'll see. I would be down to see Prairie View come back again. But really, honestly, to me, I'm like Ashton. I think Grambling's defense is going to cost them. I don't know if Prairie View can go on the road and beat Southern. I don't know if Prairie View can beat Alabama State. But, ultimately, I think it comes down and it boils down to Southern and Alcorn. Right now, if I had to bet, I'd put my money on Alcorn to be the representative out of the West. But at the same time, too, it's like you can't count out Southern. So I think the top 2 dogs that I mentioned earlier are who you most need to pay close attention to. So we'll see how today unfolds. That's a 3:30 kickoff in Lorman. As for 3:30 Eastern time, our time. So we shall see. But with that also brings us now to our keys to victory for today. And the keys to victory are as follows. So defensively, stop the run, play with eye discipline. Take a page out of Alabama State's playbook. Read and react, especially linebacker play. Active, fly up, make plays. Keep them, don't let them get a short field. Keep them behind the chains. And also, too, if you can, when you're stopping the run, hit Xavier Langford early and often. Rattle him. Knock him off his mark. You do that, I think that you'll live up to the score prediction I have for today. As well, too, stay consistent on offense again. Work Moose into that flow early. If you can continue to work Moose into that flow, it will be fine. He may give away one a game. But best believe when he gets on and he gets comfortable like he was last week and like he was in the second half against Texas Southern, he's going to be on and he's going to make plays. I saw precision passing from him on 2 plays last week on homecoming. One to Nick Dixon for a touchdown, the other one to Jeremiah Pruitt in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. He's starting to come into his own. And this is what you want to see from a team as we progress now toward the finale. And then finally, as follows, stay focused. Stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. Don't lose your focus just because you realize, like, oh my gosh, we're this close, we're actually going. No, stay focused, stay hungry. This team cannot touch you today. And that's why I think FAMU is going to win today 38-10 over Alabama A&M. I think FAMU is going to secure their first postseason home game since 1998 today, which, yes, it's been a long time. The last time FAMU hosted a home postseason game was 98 in I believe it was like 27-14 win over Troy in the opening round of the FCS playoffs. So I think today's the day that you secure that. So with that being said, that's all I got for us today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this as well too. Just remember, make sure you come on back after the game is over. We'll definitely talk about, what went right, what went wrong. We'll look ahead to Lincoln, and also we'll give you the details as far as like when the Lincoln pregame breakdown will be coming out as well. So, if you are in Huntsville, have fun, be safe, enjoy the game. Hope, stay warm because I'm sure it's cold up in North Alabama. And, just enjoy yourself, have a good time. And for those of you watching from home like I am, get comfy, crack open a cold one. And, let's enjoy this thing, and let's go out here and secure another home game in Jake Gaither's house on Ken Riley's field. So that being said, hope you've enjoyed, folks. Stay safe, stay blessed. Enjoy your afternoon.